What up, YouTube? What is good? It is 7:09 on a Sunday morning, and I'm recording. Y'all know I be trying to record on Thursdays, at least Friday, but this week has been amazingly productive, like super good. I went to a networking event that I rarely have time to go to, but I was like, this year I'm making a commitment to go to at least one local networking event to get out there with the people, and it was absolutely amazing to meet new people and hopefully new crew members. So I'm super excited about that. Listen, y'all be keeping me on my toes. You hear me? Okay, so things are coming. I am a one person. I have help and assistance and someone that's definitely a part of the team that's helping me. But you know, this is a startup. This is more than just a podcast. So y'all, if things are coming. I had somebody text me, what's the motivational tip this week? I need to buy another mastermind packet for a friend. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the train is moving. So I'm definitely want to be prepared for y'all. I'm having this conversation with you guys here on YouTube. I might dibble and dabble with it with our podcast listeners or whatnot. The mic is definitely hot. I have church, and I'm gonna leave here about an hour or so to go to 9 o'clock service. So let me go ahead and get this recording, and I'll come back and edit later. Y'all, let me tell y'all, you gotta make it work. Okay, this is grind. I don't want to say like grind time, hustle, where you don't sleep or rest. Yes, we schedule our rest, we schedule our sleep. Sometimes though, the schedule, it shifts. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to be pounding the pavement. There's been times where I've gone 2 weeks straight without a day off, not a Sunday off, not a typical Wednesday off, not a nothing off. And I was like, okay, this time is scheduled. Like, I think my next scheduled day off where I'm going to become out of town and things, it's like February, the beginning of February. So the time is coming. It's just we gotta do what we gotta do to get the leisure to just be off. Okay, so it's not grind hustle. It's just putting in the work. You hear what I'm saying? So let's put in the work with episode 58. Yes, baby, we ain't no stopping, y'all. Like, I'm not taking a Monday off until I can. You hear me? So consistency is definitely key. And if you miss the tip of the week from not following our Instagram or our TikTok, you're missing out. The tip of the week, and I think I'm gonna join LinkedIn because I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs and business people need to hear the type of books that we're reading. So I'm considering doing LinkedIn. I'll let you know. But yeah, someone messaged me, one of our crew members, Justin, and he was just like, hey, what's the motivational tip this week? And I said, the motivational tip this week is not to be so concerned about the motivation, be more concerned about the consistency. Because you lose motivation. And another crew member, what's her name? Jesus. Alicia, she was just like, girl, this gonna have to be it because I lose motivation in the first hour. But it's the truth. I'm telling y'all, consistency is key. I know it sounds cliche, but it is what it is. You hear me? Second cup of coffee. I've been up since like 4:30. Yes, on a Sunday, child. But this is good things. Like, I'm excited. I have the energy to do this. My tire is tired, but I pushed through. Trying to get rid of that butt word. We talking. That's a whole nother level. So if you ever meet me, see me, hear it in a speech or one of the clips on our socials or in writing, please say, Sade, there is no but. It's just an and. Okay? Coffee's so good. Me, I'm just coffee and oat milk. Don't give me nothing fancy. I don't need a whole bunch of fancy things in my coffee. Milk and coffee. You know what I mean? It's espresso. All right, let's get into this episode. No, I ain't hit the right button. First, and let me get to the page. Another thing I need to be better at, and I'm sorry to my podcast listeners, is I'm trying to make sure I position the thing right so I'm not constantly hitting the mic. That's one thing. I can't wait to have a studio where I'm not hitting the mic all the dang time. All right. We got our outline. Got our books. This Who Gonna Check Me Boo today. And who gonna check me? Let me make sure I get on the right date. I think it's the 12th. Let me make sure yep, it's the 12th. Okay. Bam. What up, crew? What's good? Welcome to another. Look at me. I'm already tongue-tied. Whew. Okay, let's get into it. What up, crew? Welcome to another episode of the Crew Book Club podcast. It is on and popping. Happy Martin Luther King Day. If you are off, awesome. And if you're not off, that's okay. You got a job. That is okay. So I'm excited to be here as always. I try to use other words like ecstatic. It is what it is. I'm excited every time I get on this mic and come and hang with you guys right here on the Crew Book Club podcast. It's on and popping. And it has been such an amazing start of the year. I'm super excited about what 2023 has to offer. And we're going to make it do what it do, baby. Okay? All right. Before we even hop into this episode, please understand we are partnered with a really good company called BetterHelp.com. It's convenient. It's affordable. I highly recommend it to everyone. If you haven't tried therapy, this is the way to do it. Okay? Specifically, if you're busy and on the go and really don't have time in your schedule to sit down, research your local therapist, try to find one, waste your money going to visit one, then it not being the right one, and then having to go back and and figure that all out. No, baby, that is where BetterHelp comes into place. And this is what I like about them. Every time I want to pick up my phone, get back to it, and anytime I feel like I don't need it, which I probably shouldn't, I put it back down and unsubscribe. And when I need financial help, they got me. And so I highly recommend it because your therapy is very important, and they make it convenient for you to switch therapists if you're not satisfied with a therapist. So this is your way of trying it, and thank goodness they're the sponsor of this episode because you can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy. Okay, go to betterhelp.com/crewlove. That's betterhelp.com/crewlove. Okay, y'all know I got you, boo. And I'm not gonna recommend something that I haven't used. You hear me? Okay, so I hope you're feeling good, feeling great. Hey, feeling good, feeling great. How are you? And if you ain't feeling it, sis, that's okay. After you finish listening to this episode, you're gonna be like, girl, thank you. Woo, I feel a lot better. All right? Okay, so first segment of the show, who gonna check me, boo? God is, because he is always checking us. And we deserve a what? A good chizek, because it keeps us in check. Oh, Lord knows he be keeping me in check. Highly needed, highly recommended. I feel like if you're struggling with reading your word, or you feel like, oh, I read the Bible, but I don't get nothing from it, it's like, are you allowing God to check you? Because I feel like sometimes, your parent, which is our Father God, can be telling us something, and we just be like, I want to hear that. I want to hear that. And then you be like, he don't be speaking to me, child. No, he be speaking to you, but do you be listening? That might be your check right there. Okay. So I had to welcome my checks and realize it was checking me to put me in the right path to do his will and his purpose. And this particular checks can be like reminders of where you're going to put you in your place. Checks. So I love how he come with that. And being checked is out of love. It all is coming from love because he wants you to be great. He wants you to be happy. He wants you to be joyful. Yeah, we might suffer and have challenges, but it's all in building our character so we could be prepared for our successes. Okay? All right, our Who Gonna Check Me Boo comes from The Whispers of Hope. It's a 366 devotional journal that was actually given to me in 2019. And I pulled this bad boy back out and took it more seriously this time and dedicated to reading it daily. You can click the link to order it in our show notes. It's super dope. And we I went back to January 12th, and the title was The Difference. And the scripture of it was Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 15. And it read, "The Lord your God will bless you in all your harvest and in all your work of your hands, and your joy will be complete." This particular day, honey, let me tell you, I was just like, Lord, oh, I'm tired, boss. I am tired. And then it was reminded to me, all the work that I am doing will be blessed. One, because it's I'm doing it in his name. That's the first one. And it won't go unnoticed. Okay? All right, so there was so much about the passage, so I'm going to read it to you. So listen carefully. There's a big difference between dreamers and doers. Doers live out their dreams, while dreamers constantly talk about how they will one day change the world. But it never gets beyond idle talk. The Roman philosopher Tacitus said that the desire for safety always stands in the way of the good intentions of those who merely dream of changing the world. Doers never sleep through their dreams. They constantly search for the fastest and most effective routes between the vision that God placed in their hearts, in their hands and feet. Doers give body to their dreams. Woo. Their calling is to take God's people forward and closer to manifesting of his vision. Keyword, his vision. Therefore, doers are brave individuals who don't allow believers to fall into spiritual comfort zones. They're not interested in winning in any spiritual popularity contest or in being the center of attention. No, they fulfill their calling by empowering others to give wings to the vision that God placed in their hearts through his spirit. So then, are you a doer or a dreamer? Ooh, let me tell y'all something. I went from being a dreamer to a doer. I was the person who talked about what I wanted to do. Oh, I want to change the world. I want to and then I would get into, I had jobs where it was about me moving up. And I used to have this false sense of like, oh, if I became famous with modeling and acting, I would use that money to change the world. And wrong. God was like, nope. He knew my intentions. He knew my heart. And about how I needed to do it wasn't good. I was focused on self. The moment that I stopped focusing on self and stopped talking idle talk about what I wanted to do and really started doing it, then things started to come into play. And my intentions became good to motivate and help others. One, as a disciple of God, but two, as a motivator and inspiration. And hey, sis, you need to be doing what God had called you to do in his vision. And reading this, I want to let you know that I need you to choose to be a doer. Okay? I need you to choose to be a doer. Stop dreaming. You know how many times I meet somebody, oh, I've been thinking about doing this. I've been thinking about doing that. And it's like, I can help you all day, but you need to make sure you're not doing it because everybody else is doing it, first of all. And then making sure it's aligned with his vision. Because sometimes the reason why you're not able to get things done is because it's not aligning with God's vision. Or you got 20 things that you want to say you're doing and represent that you're doing, but you haven't focused on the one thing God has asked you to do. Because maybe if you do that one thing, it will lead you into the next thing. Like for me, God was like, I need you to do real estate. That's how I need you to help people right now. And I was like, because real estate is hard. It is difficult. And there's things sometimes that you got to do that you don't want to do for customers, clients, any of that. But also, it was just like, I was trying to avoid it because one, my father was a realtor and I associated that with him. And then God was like, no. It ain't about what you associate with whatever. This is what I'm asking you to do. And then when I stopped worrying about what Sade wanted to do, it became natural for me to do real estate. And then I was like, I accepted it. I was like, okay, God, this is it. And then lo and behold, he pulls me into this podcast. And this is something that is a genius level that comes so effortlessly. And I was just like, okay, I had to do that thing first before he was able to give me this. And everything that I went through in the relationships that I built with real estate is easily translating into this. So yeah, do and become the doer and stop becoming the dreamer. All right. So that was the Who Gon Check Me Boo. God He is always checking us, and I hope that checked you today. Okay, boo boo. All right. So that was that. Okay. Oh, and I also wrote in my notes, y'all, stop playing it safe and be the doer that gets it done and not just dream. Okay. Now, you know what? I'm gonna post that for y'all. Woo, for the people who don't listen to the pod, need to hear that, need to see that. You hear me? Okay, so we're going to get into our book, The One Thing by Gary Keller with J. Papasan. Hopefully I say that right, Jay. Okay, chapter 4 and 5 today. Chapter 4 is Everything Matters Equally. And also, multitasking. Remember, we're getting into, we're getting into the lies we tell ourselves, the lies that is sold to us, and what's good and what it should be, which is the first part 1 of the book. The lies, they mislead and derail us. And so, yeah, everything matters equally is a lie. And I'll tell you. And multitasking is a lie too, sis. All right? Listen, when we talk about everything matters equally, we're not talking about lives. Please. Okay? We are not talking about all lives matter. I'm not coming from that perspective. We are talking about when it comes to work. Okay? We're putting it into work. The lies you tell, things which matter most, must never be the mercy of things which matter least. We're talking about business, okay? Your tasks that you choose to do daily, what is important, what is not important, and what we think matters really doesn't. Okay, let's get into it. Let's start on page 32. It says, the world of achievement, everything doesn't matter equally. Equality is a lie. And we're talking about work, people. Okay, get into it. When your lives are defined by our choices, the all-important questions becomes, how do we make good ones? When everything feels urgent and important, everything seems equal. Activity is often unrelated to productivity, and business rarely takes care of business. Whoa. Yes. There's so many times that you can have this huge to-do list, but if you really look at it, what's really the things that's generating money for your business or that's catapulting your business into the next season, right? Okay. It says here on page 35, achievers operate differently. They have an eye for essential. Achievers do sooner what others plan to do later and defer. Achievers always work from a clear sense of priority. And this is where you have to change your priorities sometimes in the day because something more pressing might come about that's going to take priority. And as an achiever, you have to know how to do that. And then you got to know when to do it right now and when it can wait. Okay. It says here, a to-do list is simple. The things you think you need to do, the first thing on your list is just the first thing you thought of. To-do lists inherently lack the intent of success. Instead of a to-do list, you need a success list, a list that is purposely created around extraordinary results. I used to call it a to-do list, and I changed it to I'm killing it list. Like, but you killing it, okay? So make it a word that excites you, okay? You can change it how you see fit. One pulls you in all directions. The other aims you into a specific direction. Ask how? Glad. So how does a successful person turn to-do list into a success list? Okay? Ooh, the 80-20 principle. All right. Just the right input creates most of our, just the right input creates most of our output. Select effort creates almost all of the rewards. 20% effort, 80% results because you're putting the effort into the right things. Okay. The 80-20 principle says the minority of your effort leads to the majority of your results. Okay, the 80-20 principle has been one of the most important guiding success in my career. This is Gary Keller talking. It describes the phenomenon I observed in my own life over and over again. Okay, and he has a picture of it on YouTube. You can see it. podcast, listen closely. There's a to-do list. Remember, your to-do lists are the first thing that come to mind, and then you write them all out. And then you have your success list, which you pull out your should-dos. I've talked about this before, and this is where I learned it. So your could-do is the things that don't necessarily generate income, but need to be done. And then your success is things that actually generate income and can propel your business, okay? And that could be breaking those little things down on your success to-do list. And typically, your should-dos are a lot smaller, and you should be able to get those done, okay? And we'll dive more into that later on in the episode. I'm going to break that down for you, okay? So, yeah. Figure out what your should-dos, could-dos are. Also, it says you can actually take 20% of the 20% of the 20% and continue until you get to the single most important thing. That's where it comes to breaking it down. No matter the task, mission, or goal, big or small, start with a large list as you want, but develop the mindset that you will whittle your way from there to a critical few and not stop until you end with the essential one, okay? The imperative one, the one thing. I was at an event yesterday, and there was a lot of realtors in the building, and a lot of realtors had a lot of things. And the gentleman who was speaking made it very clear, like, one of the ladies' questions was, do I need a separate social media page for everything that I do? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, is everything you doing really matters right now? And he was like, you need to focus on the one thing that people will remember you for, and then all those other things can fall in the background, which is true. Because as the consumers, they don't always digest, and we're going to talk about multitasking, what we all do. You ever meet somebody and they face be everywhere, but then somebody asks you about them, you're like, well, what they do again? Because there's just so many. Okay, let people digest one thing with you and then add on. It's like a tier, okay? So we're going to dive more into the should do, could do list in the rest of the episode. But those are just some of the highlights that were in chapter 4 that I really wanted you to listen to. So yeah, everything matters equally. It's a lie. Everything don't matter equally. Equality is a lie when it comes to your to-do list, okay? All right, let's get into chapter 5. Yes, multitasking. And let me tell y'all something. I swore up and down I was the best multitasker, and I used to brag about that until I realized, yeah, you multitasking, but you're really not giving one thing 100%. So then everything kind of is good and decent enough, but it's not all that, okay? And when I realized and I started categorizing one thing at a time and really giving focus to that, I was able to achieve and accomplish more at a better, and get better results, okay? So, didn't think that was a lie? Well, let's get into it. Multitasking is a lie, okay? And it says here, one of the quotes in the beginning of the book, to do two things at once is to do neither, okay? Ask my husband, y'all. He would tell y'all, if I'm writing an email or a text and you talking to me, I can only focus on the email and the text. He'll be talking to me and looking for an answer, and he's like, oh, you must be texting, or your attention is somewhere else. Because it's like if you're driving and eating at the same time or texting, your alertness is not really focused on the driving. It's not. You're gonna you might swerve it on, thank you swerving, and you swerve. You're not giving it 100%, which you're not being the best, okay? So listen to this human test on page 44 that happened. They divided this group into two subjects, and one was low multitaskers, began with the presumption that the frequent multitaskers would perform better. Okay, they were wrong. But it turns out the high multitaskers are suckers for irrelevancy. They were outperformed on every measure, although they convinced themselves in the world that they were great at it. There were just one problem. Multitaskers were just lousy at everything. For the truth is, multitasking is neither efficient nor effective. There's a quote here that says, multitasking is merely the opportunity to screw up more than one thing at a time. Okay, the monkey mind. Multitasking, did y'all know this? Listen to this. Multitasking didn't arrive to the scene until the 1960s, and it was supposed to be used to describe computers, not people. Multitasking was about multiple tasks alternating, sharing one resource on a CPU. But in time, the context was flipped and became interpreted to mean multitask being done simultaneously by one person. Which we're not computers. We don't operate as such. And it's not beneficial to us to operate that way. On page 46, says this. Oh, before I even say this, y'all ever heard or said this? You know, if I could just have extra hours in a day, you know, that's a problem. I said that. That just means that you're not properly managing your time. Okay? Look, it's not that we have too little time to do all the things we need to do. It's that we feel the need to do too many things in the time that we have. Okay? Y'all, some of that stuff can wait. It really can. I have an issue with laundry. I hate laundry. It's easy for me to put it in the thing, and it's hard for me to put it away. But then one day I was so busy, and I was just like, but I need these particular items. I took those items and put them in the washer and stopped feeling so compelled to have to do it all at once. Let me just wash her uniform, my daughter's uniforms. Let me just wash my workout clothes, because these are the things that I know that I need. So that way I'm cutting my time spending with laundry, and I'm getting the essentials. So find your little shortcuts and ways. It says here, research estimate that workers are interrupted every 11 minutes, then spend almost a third of their day recovering from distractions. This is so true. We think we're mastering multitasking, but we just drive ourselves bananas. Okay? It's an illusion. Switching between two simple tasks like watching television and folding clothes, is quick and relatively painless, right? We can do that. But it actually takes you longer. Like, if you think about it, if you turn the TV off and just focus on putting the clothes away, you probably would do it a lot faster. But because those two tasks are not using too much of your brain, you do it together to keep your mind occupied. It says here, however, if you're working on a spreadsheet and a coworker pops into your office to discuss a business problem, the relative complexity of those tasks makes it impossible. Because think about this. If I'm working on something so important with a spreadsheet and you come in and get interrupted, they talking your head off, then you get distracted, and then you got to go back, recalibrate where you started off to reconfigure and do all of that when you're actually being a time waster. Okay? So sometimes you got to close that door, do not disturb, and focus on doing your task. For me, I learned that the morning time is my best task. At first, I was waking up extra early to do my workouts and things, but then I realized because I'm waking up at 4:30 in the morning, I was done and my brain was close to getting fried by 6. I decided that the beginning of the day, I'm going to bang out 4 hours of my work, administrative, follow up with clients, do my one things, and then I'm going to go work out, because working out is fun for me. It's easier. It don't take a lot of my brain, and I can focus on what I'm doing, and I was able to get the important things done. Okay? There's this saying like, swallow the frog, do the hard things first. And we talked about in chapter 4 about achievers do sooner what others plan to do later. Okay? Do the hard things first. It'll make your day a lot easier, would be my recommendation. So yeah, think about how you're using your time. Think about even if you have to turn your phone off and put it in the other room, or don't do tasks on your phone, because that can easily distract you to open up your phone again and do other things. Or if you're going to use your phone, turn off all the notifications. Okay? For me, I like to put my phone away, because if I get a call, then I feel like I'm intrigued to pick it up. But I also changed my voicemail and told people when I'll be doing callbacks and things of that nature, so that way the expectation is set. Okay? So that was really good. And then here on chapter 5, also on page 50, it talks about the short list of how multitasking short circuits us. And these are, they gave us 6, but I'm going to give you 1, 2, 3. I'm going to give you 4 that really stood out to me. You know, every time we try to do 2 or more things at once, we're simply dividing up our focus and dumbing down all the outcomes of the process. One was, there is just so much brain capability at any one time. Divide it up as much as you want, but you'll pay a price in time and effectiveness. 3, researchers estimate we lose 28% on an average workday to multitasking ineffective. 4, chronic multitaskers, the most always believed tasks take longer to complete than usually actually required. And it's like developing a disoriented sense of how long it takes to get things done. It's like if you would have just focused on that one thing, you'd have been done by now instead of bouncing around through multiple things and not really getting something done at all. And I'm not saying that you can't have multiple tasks to get done. Just sit there and focus on the one thing, then pick up another thing. Okay? All right. And then 5, multitaskers make more mistakes than non-multitaskers. They often make poor decisions because they favor new information over old, even if the older information is more valuable. Whoa, that was good. Okay, so yeah, really think about how multitasking could be circuit your day. Okay, so learn how to focus, better manage your time, and tell people no. Your time is important. Okay, and multitasking ain't it. It ain't it. Try it. I want y'all to try that. Okay, I'm gonna end it on page 52 for chapter 5. It says, your work deserves no less respect. It may seem so in the moment, but the connectivity of everything we do ultimately means that we each not only have a job to do, but a job that deserves to be done well. Okay, your work and your time is important, and you should be wanting to do it well. And multitasking ain't it. Okay. All right. Whew. So I know that was a lot to swallow, but I feel like you really needed to hear that. You hear me? Okay. So this book is definitely a win-win. If you do not have the physical book, definitely listen to it on Audible. We do have a partnership with them as well. You can click the link in the show notes. You get 30 days experience with Audible in the Crew Book Club podcast. Okay? Promo code is Crew Love. All right, let's get into your challenge of the week, child. Okay? This goes back to what I wanted to talk about, the should do, could do list. You know, we had a challenge to pass of doing a success list, right? And a could-do list. This challenge, I want you to really focus on one thing at a time with great attention without multitasking, okay? And see how more effective and high quality we provide to our work, okay? So, you're going to take your to-do list. I remember when I did this exercise, laundry came out, cleaning the house, my office, like all these other things that could honestly wait came. And then I was putting, I need to follow this client, and then I need to And then when I really separated what I needed to do that was actually more effective for my business, it was like 4 things compared to the 7 other things that could actually wait. And then when I was able to knock out the should do 4 things, I felt more at peace to knock out the other could do things. So this week, make your to-do list and let's turn it into a success list. So you're gonna brain dump all your to-dos, and then I want you to extract the things that focus on your one thing, whether it's elevating your business, starting a business, spending more time with your family is your should do. Whatever that is, I need you, whatever you feel like you're lacking or want to start, let that be that. And then break it down if you need to. And then focus on those things first. Preferably, I would want it to be towards your business. Like if you're a person who already has a very demanding job, but your mindset is to become an entrepreneur and you try to do your exit plan, let's break down your should do's that's going to help you get to that exit plan. Or maybe you're the person who's in corporate who wants to move up. What classes do you need to take? What bosses do you need to build relationships? Those should do's should reflect getting that goal done. Okay? So try that this week. And I want you to focus on the task 1 thing at a time and do not multitask, and don't move on to the next task until the last task is completed. If you run into a roadblock with a particular task that delays, make sure you put it on your list for another day and give it a deadline, because if it doesn't have a deadline, then it's just a dream. All right? So that was your challenge of the week. You hear me? Y'all better stop playing with yourself. Ew. Never mind. Y'all better stop playing with your dreams. Y'all better stop playing with your dreams and become some doers around here. You hear me? Okay, so what would the crew do? Let's get into some advice. You know, you can email the crew at thecrewbookclub@gmail.com, ask advice, or you can simply DM me on @thecrewbookclub on Instagram as well. And you guys should totally join our private group. It's on Instagram. I mean, not Instagram. It's on Facebook. It's a private group. You got to be welcome to join in. And it is the Crew Book Club, okay? All right, so this one was actually DM'd to me, and she said, "Hey, Sade, I discovered your podcast from a friend. Thank you for sharing, Crew Love. And I have been binging it. Love it. The advice is my favorite part, so hopefully you can help me." Yes, girl, I'm going to help you the best I can. Okay, she says, "My husband and I are having a debate about how to spend a large lump sum of money that was left to me from the passing of a family member. I want to use it towards us having a wedding because we never had one, and he wants to use it to go towards a business idea. My issue is he has no clear idea what he wants to do. Every day is something different. What should we do?" Okay, for me, if you don't know what to do with the money as a couple, don't do nothing with it at all. Because what's going to happen is there's going to be resentment, and there's going to be a conflict with that if you guys don't come to a mutual understanding. Yes, the money was left to you, but you are married, so you want to make sure that both parties have some type of say. But also, there's a plan in place. Now, for me, I might be the wrong person when it comes to the whole wedding thing. But let me ask you this first. Do you have savings established? Do you own a home? I don't know how much a large lump sum is. But if you don't have sort of financial things in place, I think the wedding should be the last thing on your mind. Specifically as one, y'all already married. You know what I'm saying? And what, a wedding, you're gonna spend the money and it's not gonna yield an investment. Or do you think if you have a wedding, your family, like, is your family gonna give you back the money from the wedding, like with gifts and things? Like, yeah, but that's not even a guarantee, because you don't know what people might bring. And people struggling out here these days. It's inflation. Like, your wedding might cost more than what it will cost once we get out of the recession. So the wedding really isn't, I don't think, is the best thing. He has the right mindset of putting into a business that can yield income, but you don't want to put into a business that doesn't have a plan. Okay? So I would say maybe hop on board where you guys can agree to a point of maybe having a percentage go to the wedding to build on saving towards your wedding, and then a percentage that can go towards the business that can save, that can be used for a business or an investment or an idea. That would be my advice. But do not spend the money until you guys come into an agreement. But yeah, my advice would be to, one, hold on to the funds until you guys can really delegate and know what and how to use it. And a possibility of splitting the funds to go towards both of the things that you want, because both of them are beautiful. It's just what makes sense for your family. But if you don't own no home, no property, or you don't have an asset, we need to be focusing on that. Okay? All right. So that was my advice. Crew, if you ever need advice, email. I'm definitely going to try to post this, because I get a lot of people saying they like the advice column on our social or whatnot. So yeah, and so you guys can chime in as well. Okay, before we end the episode, we have the quote of the week. Y'all remember Trina from the Braxtons used to do the thing with her hand? I'm doing it right now with the quote of the week. The quote of the week. Anyway, the quote of the week comes from page 44 of our book. Multitasking is merely the opportunity to screw up more than the one thing at a time. So, crew, stop multitasking and focus on the opportunities that bring you your one thing to the next level. All right? All right, I will see you all right here next week on the Crew Book Club podcast. Have an absolutely amazing week. Hey!